Boy, you had me from the start. By the way you stared, the way you wrote upon me, yeah. Man, I felt your energy. Wasn't used to being loved and treated differently, yeah. But something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're on completely different pages. Let's go where we were, where no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Boy, you take me on a trip, always up and down and back and forth in merry-go-round. I just wanna get it right, but when you go left, I'm stuck here feeling left behind. Cause something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're going different directions. Let's go where we were, when no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. If you love me just like you say you do, don't kill the good vibes. If you kill him, you're gonna kill us too. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Boy, you had me from the start. By the way you stared, the way you wrote upon me, yeah. Man, I felt your energy. Wasn't used to being loved and treated differently, yeah. But something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're on completely different pages. Let's go where we were, where no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Boy, you take me on a trip, always up and down and back and forth in merry-go-round. I just wanna get it right, but when you go left, I'm stuck here feeling left behind. Cause something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're going different directions. Let's go.
Hello, hello, everybody. How are you all doing?
Hello, Menno.
And there we go. There I am. I couldn't see myself for a second, but there I am with my darker shirt today. I find it difficult to see myself, but there I am. So that's all good. And good to see so many of you again today. Rashed and Joseph, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly, and Giovanni and Vincent. Ethel and Mary Lou are here, and Mladen has just requested to join as well. And we had iPhone and 61414. One of you is Giovanni, and I think it was iPhone, but I thought it was 61414 as well, but maybe you are here 2 times. So we will give it 4 more minutes to be able to get everybody else online. But yes, 61414, I think you're about to say what your real name was to make sure that we were right.
Giovanni.
There we go. Then we're just going to have to see if we can figure out who was on the iPhone. All these secretive secret agents who are hiding their identity by not turning on their cameras and putting mission names, their 007 names up on the screen. But that's all fine. Giovanni just changed his name. Nice to see you by name, Giovanni. I was only joking, by the way, so it's completely fine if you don't put your actual name. Not sure what the numbers mean, but that is all fine. So how's everybody feeling today? Would anybody like to share anything that you thought of last night after the event? Anything that you're excited about today or anything else? Or did everybody just go straight to bed and busy day today? And you can put it in the chat or you can turn your microphone on, whichever you prefer. And then we'll just quickly do that introduction for a next couple of 2-3 minutes so that any latecomers can come in. And then we'll start on the presentation. Feel free to drop anything off your chest that you'd like to drop off your chest. Marilou says, all good, excited for today, which is really good. Marilou is always excited, and that makes me so happy. And I know that Ethel's always excited too. Mladen says it's a bit too cold. What is the temperature in Liverpool today? Yes, Ethel says that she's excited as well. And Rashid, am I pronouncing your name correctly, Rashid, or is it Rashid? Exciting about algo trading. Mladen says 11 degrees, and Vincent says me too. I don't know if Vincent, me too is because it's cold or because you're excited, but I'm assuming that you are excited. Excited, yes, absolutely amazing. Okay, so 11 degrees is a little bit cold, yes. But hopefully we'll warm things up with some learnings about Forex. And we'll be continuing on from where we left off yesterday. There's going to be some interesting stories that I'm going to be sharing. There's actually quite a few stories that I'm going to be sharing that are going to paint a picture for you. So thank you for all of those introductions and for saying hello. I love the interactivity. And how about we start heading over to the presentation now? And Joseph said, busy day for me. However, I'm excited about today's session. That is amazing. I'm glad that everybody got so much from the last couple of days already. And there is still more to come as well. Okay, I am going to start sharing the screen. We'll start heading over to the presentation. And here we go. Just need to move the face out of the way because my face is on top of the present button. That's not going to help. Okay, there we go. And then I put all of your faces on top of where the controls are for the music, of course. There we go. So let's just turn that off for now, even though the music is nice, but you obviously probably want to hear me as opposed to the music. So welcome everybody once again, and Mary Lou and Ethel will look after everything and I will just focus on presenting for you. The most important thing for me is that you get some really amazing value from the 5 days that we are together. So I'm going to give you absolutely everything that I have to give in order for you to be able to learn some amazing things and be able to start achieving great things with your trading as well. So welcome to day 3, how to trade Forex without risking your own capital. And today is Unleash the Secret to Creating Profitable Forex Algorithms. I was going to say strategies, but algorithms. So So let's do a quick recap of where we've gotten to up until this point. So on day one, we did a quick overview and had a look at what Forex is, just very, very basic to start off with, and why Forex can be a really amazing tool or an amazing vehicle that you can use in order to be able to make money, because we all want to achieve great things. And money really isn't very much in that sense, because money is just a tool that we can use in order to get what we really want. Money isn't good for food. Money isn't good for travel. It's just a means of exchange in order to be able to get that time off work, or that travel, or being able to look after our family more, or the car or the house, or whatever it is that we really want to achieve. So why Forex is a great tool for being able to achieve not the money, but the lifestyle that it can entail. Day two, stop losing money in Forex. Avoid the biggest mistakes that people make. And we talked about always wanting to have trades that are always correct, and wanting to do things without learning from somewhere else and doing it our own way, just like when I was crying under the table because I wanted to draw the stairs. And day three, which says day two, but really that was day three, which is coming up, unleash the secret to creating profitable Forex algorithms. See, you don't always have to be perfect. Sometimes small little things like this pop up. So there is already the lesson in real life for us. Okay, so we already said that Forex can be a great opportunity, and there are many doors, there are many paths, there are many ways in which we can achieve things. But like we said at the very beginning, do you have the need? The need for financial speed, because the faster you can do something, the less time it takes. And if you are still young, you have the luxury of time. But even if you're young, it's probably really amazing if you're able to speed things up a bit. And there's a funny commercial that there used to be on the TV when I was younger. And there was this beautiful Ferrari, and it's being driven. And the camera is focused in on the Ferrari. And as it zooms out, you see an old man with really gray hair who's probably about 90 years old driving the Ferrari. And behind him, there's a traffic jam because he's on this small little road that you can't overtake. And wouldn't you rather have the lifestyle that you want at a younger age rather than when you are in your 90s and not really able to enjoy the Ferrari or all of these things that you want to do right now? So the need for financial speed is very important. I'll have to see if I can make sure that I stay on time today, because I'm already starting to tell some really amazing stories. So increasing the speed, that was a quick story that I just threw in there because I thought of it just now. And we were also having a look at a higher return for the late starters. And we want to make sure that we are also being careful, because yes, in Forex, we can make a faster and higher return, but we still want to make sure that we do it safely, because disclaimer, we're not going to give you any financial advice tonight. We don't want you to take any action on anything that we talk about, because you can also lose a lot of money quickly if you're not sure of what you are doing. And if you don't take the time to learn, to study, and to, I suppose, implement over time by learning well and implementing in a way that you are going to keep yourself safe. So that is also very important. So I want to start out with a story about mathematics. And I am not sure if anybody is on the other end of the line today going, oh no, not mathematics. But I'm going to share this story about me and mathematics that is going to help you to picture an idea of how you're going to be able to start creating opportunities for yourself, not just in Forex, but especially in Forex. So this story takes place when I was in high school. And I did like maths, but I didn't like what they were teaching me at school, because I wanted something that was going to be a little bit more practical. And at some stage, I read this story about somebody who could take two-digit numbers and multiply them together, and he could do it in a fraction of a second. So I was really interested in this, and I wanted to figure out how this was going to be possible. And I had learned about something called digital roots, and I was wondering if it was possible to do digital roots and use those in order to be able to do 2 by 2 digit numbers as a multiplication and be able to calculate it really fast. So I sat down and I worked on it for a very, very long time. Eventually, I found a different methodology. It wasn't through digital roots, but that's what gave me the start, the initial idea in order to be able to do that. And because I persisted and worked on it for a lot of time, I eventually started to see patterns. I started to understand how things worked. I could see how carrying would affect an answer based on how large the number was. And I'll be sharing a short video on how you can multiply 2 by 2 digit numbers in order to be able to get an idea of not how to multiply 2 by 2 digit numbers in your head, but in order to be able to see that when we look a little bit further, when we look a little bit deeper, we can find the answers to things that we think are not possible. Has anybody, and I'd like to quickly throw it out to you as well, has anybody ever experienced something like this, where something that seemed impossible, you either sat down and figured it out by yourself and you were able to succeed with it, or that somebody else had the secret and you didn't know that somebody else was able to do it. You thought it was impossible, but eventually you found somebody who could teach you how to do something that you didn't know how to do because you didn't know it existed or you didn't know how it worked. And in that way, you're able to succeed. So please share if you have ever had that kind of experience before. And I think that most of you will have had an experience like this. It might not have been in investing, and we might not have thought that it's actually possible to do the same with our investing, but please share if you've ever had one of those kinds of experiences before. So you can have a bit of a think about it first if you want. There we go. I knew that there'd be a couple of people sharing. Mary Lou says no and is laughing. I'm sure that most of you probably have had this experience, but might not recognize it as having happened to you before. So I'm very surprised that everybody's saying no. But yes, when I was in, I think it was year 3, I was talking to somebody in year 4 and they were telling me about their homework and how their roster worked. And I thought that it looked impossible to understand and be able to do year 4. And the reason for it was because I hadn't done year 3 yet. And in order to be able to do year 4 homework, in order to be able to understand what year 4 was about, you have to first complete year 3 in order to get the basics to understand how the year 4 things work. So we've all, I'm sure, been there before. Or it could be, for example, I like to, and I don't have a pen. Oh, I do have a pen on me. So I like to twist my pen. And so I thought it was impossible. I saw somebody else twisting the pen, found a couple of different ways of doing it. And so I had to ask somebody else how that needed to be done. And after a while, I failed many, many times, but eventually I got to the point where I was able to do it because I kept practicing and because I asked somebody how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to teach myself how to do it, but eventually I figured it out because 1, I asked somebody else, and 2, I persisted. And Rashid says that he hasn't had anything like that before. Mary Lou thinks that she agrees with me that we've probably all had that experience before. And Mladen says, I couldn't get a degree in my mother language, but got it in a foreign language. So that's probably definitely an example of being able to do that. So something that seems impossible, but eventually, if you're put in the situation where you have no other alternative, you find a way to be able to make it happen. Anyhow, regardless of whether you think that you've experienced it or not, I'm going to show you, and I think that the video should be here. Yes, there we go. So I'm going to quickly show you a video on something that would seem impossible to you right now, but that is actually quite possible. And we're going to use mathematics now, and then we're going to translate that through to Forex in just a moment. So let's have a quick look at this video together.
G'day and welcome to...
So quickly, before we start, I want to ask everybody, do you think it is possible for you to be able to multiply two-digit numbers together? Do you think that you'd be able to calculate that in your head without using pen and paper? So give me a quick answer in the chat whether you think you'd be able to do that. And then we'll see how you feel about it
the Tech
after
Math
we've
channel.
watched
What we're going to
some
be
of the
having a look at in
video.
this video is we're going to be looking at
And
using
I
base
don't
method.
know how that just turned itself on because I didn't press anything. So let's have a look. Vincent says yes, but it will take time. Joseph says yes. Mary Lou thinks it's going to be possible, probably because I already planted the seeds of potential in your minds with that one. Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, let's get to it then.
Multiplication to multiply numbers in their 20s and 30s. This is sort of part two. We had a video before where we were looking at using base method multiplication for multiplying numbers more around the number 10, but this is looking around 20s and 30s. Base method multiplication, by the way, is where we multiply two numbers, but we use a third number called a base, a nice easy number, in order to help us. So what we were having a look at in the last video, which I'll put links up for, was where we might multiply some numbers like 17 times 13. And we would use this friendly number of base, in this case it was the number 10, in order to help us. Now, if we look at the base, 17 was 7 more than 10, and 13 was 3 more than 10. So we're writing those up there, but this is something you can do mentally as well. And then what we did is we cross-added these, so 17 plus 3, or 13 plus 7. So we got the answer of 17 plus 3 was 20, but because it was a tens number, we made that into... And then we multiplied these guys and we added this to our answer. So 7 times 3 was 21, and we end up with the answer of 221. Okay.
Okay, did everybody understand that one? Feel free to put that in the chat if you like, if that all made sense to you. Everybody's gone a little bit shy again, or I've put you off with mathematics. So David says, hello, everybody. And yes, something just beeped in my ear. I'm not sure if that was my headphones saying that they are running a little bit lower on battery, but no, I'm still online. So everybody's just being a little bit more quiet. So we'll watch one more example, and then you get the idea that it is actually possible to find an easier and simpler method to doing something. Yes, so definitely, I don't think you're going to be able to do it all in one go, but yes, definitely it will be an easier way of doing it than what you learned at school. So for the 200, if we take the 7 plus 13, or the 17 plus 3, that comes to 20. And then because the base is 10, we add a 0. So we multiply the 20 by 10. That gives us the 200. And then the 7 times 3 is 21. And then we add the 200 plus 21 is 221. So that should help out, Giovanni. So obviously, I'm not here to teach you maths today. I just want to show you that something that seems impossible is possible. And then we're going to translate that across to doing the same thing, but with Forex, in order for you to be able to then come up with algorithms and strategies. And then we'll talk about taking it to a whole new level when we are going to be doing it in an even easier way once we've decided to do that, and how to then also get access to other people's money. So I'll watch just a tiny little bit more, and he'll talk about a second example of this. But yes, this isn't to teach you the maths, just to show you that it is possible to do things that seem impossible when we look for the result and when we put the time and the effort in. Like Rashid said, you probably need to watch it again. We can share the link to the video if you are interested and you want to learn how to do maths a little bit better, but that's not the point. The idea being that there are ways if you look for the ways and if you practice and put the time and effort in, and it's the same with Forex.
And you can do this really, really easily in your head. But now what we're going to be doing is looking at how to do this using a different base, not 10, but now we're going to be looking at base 20 and even base 30 numbers in this particular video. So I'll give you an example. What about I get you to do this one here. Or we'll walk through this one together, I'd say. 25 times 23. Now what we're doing is we're using the base of 20, because 20 is a number which is close to these. And the way we treat this is a little bit different from 10, but not hugely different. First off, we look at this number here and it's 5 above 20, and this one here is 3 above 20. Okay, and then what we do is, to get our answer, is we do the same thing. We do this cross addition, okay? So 25 plus 3, or 23 plus 5, we get the answer of 28. Now I'm only going to write this very little, because often I wouldn't bother even write it down, or I wouldn't even think about it for too long, because we're not dealing with a base 10. This time we're dealing with base 20. So before we were dealing with base 10, you might realise that 20 is 2 times as big as 10. Yeah? So what we have to do here is we make our answer twice as big. Okay? So 28 times 2 is 56. So the first part of our answer is 560. That first number in our head is 560. And then we just multiply these two numbers together like we did before. Okay? So 5 times 3 is 15. And we'd add that to our answer. 560 plus 15 is 575. Okay, do you see that difference?
Okay, so as I said, this isn't to teach you the mathematics. This is only to show you that there is another way of doing things to how we generally think. There are 1,000,001 different amazing things that we can learn that we think are currently impossible, in order to make it possible for us to achieve the things that we don't think we can do. So has anybody ever seen, or do you think that you have changed your mind with regards to, well, I suppose the real question is, has anybody ever seen that methodology? Did you already know how to do the multiplication in your head, or have you always only written it down on paper? Let me know whether you've ever seen that methodology before. I'm curious to see if anybody already learned that method, or whether that is something completely new for you. So Fred says that it's the first time, and there are so many different things that are new to us that seem like magic, that seem like only successful people are going to be able to do, or only smarter people are going to be able to do. But if you apply yourself a little to this methodology, you'd absolutely be able to implement it into your life and learn how to do it a little bit more quickly, just like anything else that you've learned in the past. So just because it's something that you haven't learned up until this point doesn't mean that you wouldn't be able to, just like when you're in high school, take some time to practice and practice a little bit more, even if you just practice 5 minutes a day, and you would start getting better at it, and you'd be able to do it more proficiently. And it's exactly the same with Forex. If you are able to, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, but if you're able to start analyzing things, if you're able to talk to other people about it, if you're able to watch some videos and have a look at how other people are doing it, then you might start to see your own patterns. You might start to figure out how to do things in the way that other people do that seem like magic to you right now, because there's only so much that you can achieve on your own, based on just what you've seen and heard, without learning from others or talking to others. And Rashid says, yes, I did see it on Britain's Got Talent show. Wow, I didn't know that there was an episode with somebody that was doing the mathematics. I'm just curious now as to whether they were teaching the judges, or whether they just showed their methodology after they surprised everybody with it. Okay, thank you for sharing. So it's always great to learn new things. And as I said, it's not about the mathematics tonight. It's more about the Forex. But this principle applies for everything that we might want to learn. Okay, so I have my phone with me right now, and I'm going to quickly share my screen from the phone. And I'm going to quickly join the Zoom so that we can do an exercise together, and we'll see what happens towards the end. So let me quickly join here. And just make sure that I'm in the right spot. There we go. That's the correct one. Here we are. And I'll just have to mute myself quickly, because otherwise I'll get a bit of a reverberation. And I'm just going to host from my phone for now. And I will mute myself. There we go. And I'm going to quickly go across to this over here. And we are going to quickly have a look. And you can also open up your demo accounts if you want to. But we want to quickly have a look at just something very, very basic. And I have an account open here. Let me see. I think I'm not sharing my screen. That might be helpful if I do that. There we go, share, and we'll share screen. And then you might actually be able to see what I see as well. There we go. So I'm still using the same chart that I was talking about yesterday and have been showing you. So this is gold just here. And you can see the different moves that it has been making since this morning on this section here. And you can see a bit of green, a bit of red. There was a bit of a very big red just here. So let me just change the tool so I can show you just here where this little cross is. So there's been a big drop. So what I want to do quickly is I am going to place a very small little trade, but I'm going to base it on you having a look at the chart right now, and just off of the most basic of knowledge that you might have, or some of the more advanced knowledge, depending on how much knowledge you have of it, based on what you can see on the screen right now, I'd like everybody to make an estimate of whether you think it will go up or whether it will go down from this point forward. And this is where we are right now. So you can see the last couple of candles. And so I'd like everybody to make an estimate of whether you think it will go up or down. And then we are going to place a trade, and then we'll have a look at where it ends up at the end of the day. While we are, or at the end of the presentation, while we are going through a couple more slides. So Giovanni says down, and Rashid asks based on 15 minutes or the day. iPhone says up, Fred says down. So Rashid, based on whatever you would like it to be in that sense. So this is the 15-minute chart, obviously. So some of you can see that. So you can see where the X is at the top here, that it says M15. So that means the 15-minute chart. So each of those candles is 15 minutes long. So I would say where you think it will be by the end of this presentation. And this is how Forex works. So obviously everybody is giving an indication of which direction they think. If everybody was placing a trade, then whichever trade is most prevalent is the direction that it's going to be. So Rashid, wherever you think it's going to be by the end of the presentation. So we've got Mary Lou and Ethel. Can you check for me how many downs and how many ups we have? And then we will base it on whichever the majority is.
To accept.
Oh, and I only have 5 seconds to accept. I'm not sure what I am accepting. That's okay, Rashid. I think that was just your mute that went off. So how many? I think we've got 1, 2. So I can't see it that big. Oh, I can make it a bit bigger. Let's have a look. So we've got 1 down, 2 down, 3 down, 4 down, 5 down. Oh, Mary Lou's already put it. 2 up and 4 down. So let's put 1 4 down and see what happens to that one. So we'll put a very small one. So I'll be able to show you how to actually place a trade in that sense. But yes, as I said, disclaimer, I don't want you to do anything for real. We are just doing this as a demonstration together. And Dave says that he thinks it will head down a bit, maybe to 1906, but then I think it will head back up. And then I couldn't read the rest of it, but I think he's expecting it to go up to a certain stage again. So I'm going to open the XAU USD. I'm going to place a new order. And as long as it's on a demo account, you can join us if you like. I'm going to make the lot size, which is this section here, where you can see my cursor right now, very small. So I'm going to make it 0.01. And then I am going to hit the sell button. And I accidentally hit it without realizing that I'd already hit it. And so you'll see that right now, the start price is 1907.79, and it has already moved to 1908.31. So currently we are down 0.73 cents, and you can see the balance in the equity and some other things. But I just want to give everybody an idea of what it looks like for anybody that is completely new. So that is how you would place a trade. And yes, we'll see where it ends up at the end of the session today. And that's just to give everybody who is brand new an idea. And for everybody that's already traded before, that will obviously already make sense to you. And then, yes, so Dave thinks that eventually it will go back to 1910 level approximately. Okay, so that was just very quickly. We will close that and I will start heading back across. So I'm going to leave the Zoom on my phone. There we go. And I will leave meeting, and I'm going to pass on the new host back to myself, sign and leave. And there we go. So does anybody have any questions on that section where we quickly just place the trade so that people who are completely new can see what that looks like? I think some of you have already traded before, but for everybody that's new, that gives you an idea of what the process is. And then I'm going to share the screen and go back to the presentation. And I think everybody should be able to see my screen again now. And the volume should still be okay since I am back on the computer, not on the phone anymore. Let me know if there are any issues. Otherwise, we will start to continue again. Let me just move everything out of the way so I can see the presentation myself. Okay, so okay, everybody, I actually did it live this time around. And for those of you who haven't set up a demo account, I think everybody was here yesterday. I know Dave already, so that is perfectly fine. And then, yes, if you are new and you haven't set up the demo account, Mary Lou and Ethel will share that in the chat for you so that you can watch this video that we watched yesterday in order to do that. And then I'd like to tell you another story quickly. So I'm just going to keep an eye on the time as well, because I have a habit of sometimes going slightly over. And yesterday we had a slight early mark. So I'm just going to make sure that I respect your time and finish on time again today. So let me tell you a quick story about turtle traders. So this is a story from a reality TV show that I saw. And in this reality TV show, there was a famous hedge fund manager who wanted to see whether it was whether it was possible for people, random people off the street, to be able to learn how to trade. So he had his nice office, and he had his professional staff who were able to make a lot of money trading. And he filled it with people who were randomly picked off the street. And he taught them how to trade. And at first, they were all extremely nervous, obviously, because they'd never done it before. Yes, they'd learned how to do it, but they had never had any experience and didn't really know what they were doing. So they went through all of these emotions. They were worried. They were crying. They were panicking. They weren't pressing any buttons or making any trades because they were scared they were going to make mistakes. And so it was absolute pandemonium, which makes for amazing reality TV, because who doesn't love a little bit of drama when we are watching something? But after a while, some people started to drop off, and the ones that were crying generally stopped coming, and they kicked themselves off the program, I suppose. And some of them actually started to trade a little bit. They were still a little bit cautious, and they still weren't doing it in the way that the guy wanted them to, but they were starting to trade a little bit, and they made some mistakes. They did some things right. And eventually some of the men started to think that it would be possible for them to outperform the system that they were taught. I don't know what it is about us men, but we have a bit of an ego, and we think that we can outperform the market because we are so smart. So the end of the program comes, and they are analyzing the results of what happened. And some of the men dropped off, some of the women dropped off. Some of the men started trading and lost a little bit of money. Some people broke even. Some people made a little bit of money. But there was only one person who made a lot of money. And this was a woman that hadn't been on the program very much. She was in the background all the time. She was very quiet. She didn't have any drama. She didn't cry. She didn't yell. She didn't scream. She didn't think that she was going to make mistakes. She just sat there the whole time and followed the system. She did exactly what they told her to do. She wasn't emotional about it. She was given the system. She took the system. She implemented the system. She wasn't scared of making mistakes. She just implemented exactly what they told her to do. And she became the most successful and made the most amount of money. She definitely outperformed all of the men with their egos who thought that it would be possible for them to outperform the strategy that they were given by a professional. So this is why it's so important to learn and figure out a kind of strategy that you can use. One of the reasons as well, another one of the big mistakes, which we didn't mention on day one, is that some people don't like to follow a strategy, even if they've been taught a strategy. Have any of you ever been to a seminar where you've learned how to do something, and then either you've gone back to life and you've gotten so busy that you didn't have time to implement the strategy, and then it turned into nothing because you never implemented it, or you were taught a strategy, or somebody that you saw in the group was taught a strategy and they didn't implement the strategy correctly because they thought that they could do it better, or that they didn't like the way it was taught. Has anybody ever experienced that? Please type in the chat whether you have ever experienced somebody else or whether this has ever happened to you. I would love to know whether you've ever experienced something like this before. And you can blame it on somebody else. You can say that it's never happened to you, but it happened to somebody else. Rashid says, yes, definitely happened to me. Fred says, AA. And Joseph says, yes, as well. I think that especially when we are younger, it's going to happen to us more frequently. As we get older, some of us are actually going to learn that we need to follow the strategy a little bit more. And Mladen says, quality, I'm not sure. Does that mean quality, or definitely happened to me as well? Dave says, of course, it happened to me many, many times. Oh, and Mladen says guilty. Okay, so when it comes to trading, we want to make sure that we are going to learn from our mistakes, because it looks like everybody's got the t-shirt on that one. So we want to learn from our mistakes, and we don't want to be like the other turtle traders. We want to make sure that we are going to follow the systems that we create or that somebody else has created for us. So tomorrow we are going to talk a little bit more about how we can use other people's money. And in order to do that, you would need to be able to make a 4% return. Now, I know that many of you are completely new to what we are doing, but I want you to have a think about, if I challenged you to make me a 4% return, and let's start out with a 4% return in the next year. And then eventually, once you've found a way to do that, 4% per month. And then once you've been able to do that 4% per week. But I want you to start having a think about, if you are on your own, but you had access to asking other people, you might book a session with me and you'd be able to use that shortcut, that life hack, in order to be able to figure out how you might be able to do it. But I'd like you to have a think about what you would do, which steps you would take in order to be able to figure out how to create a 4% return over the next year, which is probably about just as much as the bank will pay you just from the trading itself. Now, I know that some of you may have already made 4% per annum, but if you haven't been able to do it per month, then how would you do it per month? If you haven't been able to do it, or if you've been able to do it per month, how would you do it per week, so that you're taking yourself to the next level? And I'll explain tomorrow why that and how that is relevant. But I want you, for your home play for tonight, to have a bit of a think about, what would I do? What would my steps be? How would I figure out how to make a 4% return? And then tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about why that's relevant and how that relates to being able to access other people's money to be able to trade with less risk for yourself. Now, I want to quickly have a talk about how to create your own system. So this also relates to what we will be talking about tomorrow. But I'm going to tell you one more quick story, and then I think that we are almost done for tonight. We are almost at the last slide. But I want to tell you a quick story about one of my favorite movies. And this also relates to my own mastermind because the atmosphere is very similar. But that's a story for another day. But this is my favorite movie. It's called Molly's Game. And it's about this girl, Molly, who, and I won't spoil the movie for you, I promise. But it's about a girl who has some challenges based on a goal that she wants to achieve that she isn't able to achieve. And she ends up running, I suppose it's described as a decadent man cave. So I won't go into the exact details, but there are a lot of very rich, very powerful men in this room that she is in as well. And she becomes extremely good at understanding investing and a couple of other things. And the reason she's able to get so good at it is because she is listening to everything that they say. So the people in this room are extremely wealthy, extremely powerful. They are investors, they are business people, and they are talking about the strategies that they use to save on taxation. They are talking about what kind of art they invest in. They are talking about which baseball players are going to get chosen for certain teams. They're talking about politics, which politicians are going to win the election, which ones aren't. They have inside information. They have this wealth of knowledge. And they're talking about things that people who are less successful are not likely to talk about. People who are not so successful are not necessarily going to talk about how to save on their taxes because they might not be paying that much tax. They don't need to think about how much tax they're going to be saving. But what we want to learn from this is the strategy that she used. So she's sitting in this room as everybody is talking, and she is looking up every single word that she doesn't know that people have mentioned. She is looking to figure out how it all fits together. She is looking to understand when they say that this investment is going to be good. She is listening to why they think this investment is good. She is listening to the methodology that they used in order to come up with the idea that this will be good, or who they got this information from. And this is what we need to do as well in order to be able to come up with our own strategies. We need to make sure that we are spending time around people who are doing these things, who know what they are doing, who are good at it, who are interested in it. We need to become interested in it, just like Molly was, so that we also start picking up and learning from other people so that we know the vocabulary around how it all works, so that we understand how they came to their ideas. And then once we start to understand it on a slightly deeper level, then we can also start experimenting with our own methodologies. So we need to make sure, as I said on this slide here, we need to figure out what makes sense. We need to know who is interested in these things, who is good at these things. We need to find a way to make it fun. What do I hear that I already know from what people are saying? How can I implement that into my life? How can I be a fast implementer to make sure that what I heard, that I'm actually practicing and seeing what happens? So when I was in high school, whenever somebody, or even later, high school, university, afterwards, I've always been a fast implementer. As soon as I've heard somebody talk about something and I've learned something, then I've always gone out to test it immediately. Every time I've read a book and they talk about a different strategy on how to do something, then I will always be looking to see how I can implement that strategy the next day or even 5 minutes after I've read about it. Let me know in the comments whether you also are a fast implementer and whether you surround yourself with the kind of people who are good at the things that you want to be good at, or whether you're relying on yourself a little bit in order to be able to achieve your own success. Everybody's gone a little bit silent. Maybe that was a bit of a confronting question, that one. Or have I lost my network? Don't think so. Here we go. Here come the first comments. Rashid says, I'm relying mostly on me. Okay, thank you for your honesty. How about everybody else? Everybody else a little bit shy to share on this one. Might be a little bit confronting, but I don't want to be doing this presentation from the point of view that I want to sugarcoat everything and do it in a way that you are not going to make change in your life. I want to be very, very honest and a little bit confronting to get you out of your shell. I don't want you to be a turtle trader. I want you to be, I suppose, a cheetah trader, not because you're cheating, but because you're a cheetah. Get it? So David says self-reliant, but with collaboration and research. And yes, David and I have definitely sat down together, and David has been working on a couple of strategies for me. We've been collaborating, and that's one of the reasons David is here. And David is also a wealth of knowledge when it comes to these things, which is why I like to hang out with David. And we share ideas and we brainstorm, and we are playing Molly's game, but on a Menno and David level together with a couple of other people. Okay, and I see that there is a couple more comments. Rashid says, but I would like to learn as much as possible along the way. And Joseph says, I rely on myself, but I also research. Okay, thank you everybody for your honest answers there. And I had a look at the slideshow today, and I thought that there was a slide where there was an arrow here, and you would either find your way through the maze, which was the hard way, or there was a second slide where the maze had been completely obliterated and just broken through so that the line went straight through. I think that one's missing. But the idea being that if you surround yourself with really good people, if you are looking to learn as much as possible and spending a little bit of time implementing things and seeing if you can figure out why things work and why things don't work, then it is much easier and it is the better methodology than finding your way through the maze gently and calmly, because then you're a little bit more like the turtle traders that were not as successful. Okay, and this is the easier way. So yes, we're looking for the easier way, and I had the slideshow slightly different in my mind, but that is all okay. So today we started having a talk about Forex algorithms and what kinds of things we are able to do in order to be able to create our own systems, how important it is to surround ourselves with the right people, to make sure that we are not just saying that we know something, but that we are, for example, when we hear new terminology, looking that up, we are implementing things as soon as we learn them. We might be teaching people. I love to teach people. When I've read a book, when I've learned something, I will immediately teach as many people as possible because it reinforces our learning. It is an extremely powerful methodology by teaching other people. So if you have friends, you want to learn together, so you might want to bring them along to a presentation like the 5-day challenge. You might want to teach them as soon as you learn something. So maybe have a think about somebody that you can teach about some of the things that you've learned in the 5-day challenge, and it will vastly improve your ability to recall, remember, and retain the information that you are learning here. So we are nearing the end of today's presentation. Please share with me what your biggest takeaway has been. And Fred says, prefer systematic trading. So absolutely, it could be a systematic trading strategy, but you want to see if you can find the best strategies. You want to make sure that you find the best systems. And one of those ways is not just doing it on your own, but surrounding yourself by people, learning more about different systems. and learning how to put them together. So I didn't know that much about algorithms until I started talking to Dave and a couple of other people. And I started using ChatGPT to create some code. Then I started learning some coding. And all of a sudden, I was able to start doing a lot more in that regard because I actually went down that rabbit hole and started going deeper into it. So Fred says, and mentoring, absolutely. That is also a really good way because somebody who is being mentored, the mentor has already gained a lot of experience and is able to share a lot of shortcuts, how to avoid certain mistakes, and being able to help you perform better than when you are just doing it on your own. Absolutely. So thank you for sharing, Fred, and everybody for sharing today. So just checking the time quickly. So we might have a slight early mark again today, but we'll open up the floor to questions and answers at the end. But the biggest takeaway that I want you to get from today is the importance of being open, wanting to learn, being open to implementing, teaching other people, and being excited by what you want to learn. So if Forex isn't the right thing for you, then, and I doubt that anybody in the room would not be interested in Forex or not think it is exciting or fun, because otherwise you wouldn't be turning up to an event like today. But you want to be able to really embrace it with everything that you've got. Because when you are excited about something, when you want to learn about it, it makes it easier to learn. When you want to teach other people what you've learned, then it's going to reinforce your learning. When you are looking up the words, because when you're excited, when you're interested, you're going to look up the words that you don't know. You're going to see if you can surround yourself with people that are interested in the same kind of thing. Dave and I, we don't live that far from each other, and we are catching up all the time, and we are discussing ideas, and we are challenging each other, and we are looking for ways to improve the results that we are already getting. So that's the biggest takeaway that I'd like you to get from tonight. But please do share what your biggest takeaway is from tonight. And Mladen asks, so you're learning computer programming using ChatGPT? So not completely. I am also using it as a tool in order to get a couple of basics. And then I'm using those basics to take it a whole step further. So definitely not using that to learn, but using it in order to be able to open my mind to and start picking up some basic ideas in order to be able to figure out how certain things work. And ChatGPT is not the greatest example for coding, obviously, because it is programmed to make some mistakes because it doesn't want to give people the answers. It's also not allowed to teach you unethical things. There are ways around that, but we won't go down that rabbit hole. But it definitely is a great way to be able to start getting that excitement and finding the first answers that you might need in order to be able to do that. So please do share what your biggest takeaway for today has been. I'm really excited to hear what your takeaway was, whether it's the same one that I would like you to take away from today, or whether it is something else. And I really appreciate everybody's enthusiasm. I have loved all of your answers and seeing that everybody's been very honest about what has been some of your learning experiences, and that you are able to see that it's possible to learn things that seem magical and impossible for you right now, such as that mathematics example that we had. We have been guessing with regards to which direction the market will go, and over time we'll start having a look at how you can do that a little bit better. Today was just a little bit of fun to show for those who are completely new how a trade actually works. And also with regards to, let's have a look. Everybody said yes, and yes, guilty. Of course, it happened to me many times when we went to a seminar and we were learning something but didn't implement. So I really appreciate your honesty on that one. And then Mladen says the takeaway is do nothing until you learn system or trading plan. So I don't know, fully do nothing. Obviously, you want to be teaching other people, you want to be learning more, but you do want to be cautious. You don't want to just take something that you haven't fully learned yet and launch into it. So definitely disclaimer, only do things on a demo account as you are learning until you can see that you are quite proficient with it. So that is a great share, Mladen. Appreciate that a lot. Anybody else have any other takeaways that you would like to share? Feel free to throw it into the chat. And while you are doing that, feel free to keep typing those in. So just a quick overview of what is coming up as well. So day one, the overview. Day two, stop losing money, avoid the biggest mistakes. Today, we threw in a third mistake that people make sometimes. Day three, today, start creating profitable Forex algorithms and the secret to being able to create them. And then tomorrow, we are going to talk about advanced Forex tools for smarter trading. That's where we start having a look at how to take it to the next level once again, not just with regards to creating the strategy around the algorithm and how to get that initial thinking around that, but we'll take that to the next level tomorrow. And then on day 5, Forex trading success stories and lots more. We'll be doing some other really exciting things on day 5. And we might even see if we can make some money on day 5, which is my favorite part. And I'm starting to say some of the secrets of what's coming up. And let's have a look. Rashid says, not sure where we're heading to tomorrow or last day. That's what I just shared, I think. And I'm not going to go too deep into that one. So you might be on the right track. And then Vincent says, take away learning things from experts like you. Thank you very much, Vincent. I am really, really excited to share what I have learned over many years of doing this by this stage, and all of the amazing people that I have also been working with. And I know that you were talking about being mentored, and I have definitely been mentored and learned some amazing things through that methodology as well as teaching, sharing, and doing all of those different things. And yes, I will be sharing where the screen is at. So I'm going to go back to my phone and also show you where our account has gone to, if we were all correct in our judgment or not. And obviously, you want to make sure that you learn a little bit more before you are starting to do a trade like this. It's just a demo account, though, so that is not an issue. And we can, at some stage, debrief and have a look at why it did or why it didn't go in the right direction. And that's similar to what I wanted you to learn from tonight. And Rashid says, of course, take away, learn and implement learning strategies. That is amazing. I think everybody got the point to what it is that I wanted you to learn. So thank you for joining. I'm going to quickly log in again on my phone so that we can see where the account has gotten to. But in the meantime, if you wanted to book a call, and I know some of you were interested yesterday, this is the address that you can write to in order to be able to do that. And I just have to mute my phone. Ethel and Mary Lou will be able to book a time with you. They've just typed in the email address that you can do that. And the first dates have already been put in there, so you can book a date immediately. And we will quickly go back to my phone, and we should have, there we go. That is our account there. We're just waiting for it to refresh. I don't think that I'm sharing the screen, so let me do that first. When I'm on my phone, I don't always remember to share the screen. Here we go. Who's excited to see what our results are based on your own predictions? Hopefully everybody is. Fred says, definitely. Aye. You sound a bit like Tony Robbins. I can't do a Tony Robbins very well. And Rashid's already checked. We were in profit. Yoo-hoo. Vincent says me. So let's go and have a look. How much profit did we make in that case? So we've got $1.50 on a very small account. We just dropped to 126, 128. So you can see how fast the market actually moves. 119, 125. So let's close it there perhaps. So we'll hit the button close order, and 122. Should we wait for it to go up a little bit? Oh, it was on 130 for a second, and then it dropped back down again a little bit. We'll just close it there. We made about $1 worth of profit. Let's have a look. So we'll go to the history, and we made $1.19. So congratulations, everybody, and thank you for playing along. And we got the right direction. So obviously, another very quick lesson, because I just thought of it right now. David asked, show the chart. Yes, that's a good idea. So there we go. There's the chart. So it just started going up slightly again at the 8:30 mark, and we went down for the rest of the time that we were doing that. But the other important lesson in that is that some of the people in the room tonight are a little bit more experienced traders, and they probably influenced our decision on which direction to go. So everybody that was brand new had access to information from people that were a little bit more experienced. And that is the reason why we're able to come up with this positive result where we came up with $1.19. Now, this was a very small trade with a 0.01 lot size, as it is called. And that means that if we would have done a larger lot size, we would have made more. So if we would have done 0.1 instead of 0.01, we would have come up with $11.90. And if we would have done one standard lot, so if we did 1.00, we would have come up to $119 in profitability. So congratulations to all of you. And thank you for demonstrating the importance of having experts that are there in order to be able to get you the right result. So well done on that one. And thank you once again for joining. I'm going to leave from my phone so that I can go back to, there we go. So that one has gone. And we'll go back to the final screen here. And I'll just share that with you. There we go. So if you'd like to book a call, if you have any questions, if there's anything that you'd like to discuss with me, you can book a call, and my VAs will help you with that, Ethel and Mary Lou. Thank you so much for joining. I am so happy and grateful that you got some really amazing takeaways from tonight. I'm looking forward to giving you even more value tomorrow. And thank you for your enthusiasm. And I have absolutely loved being able to share with you for 3 days already. And there is more to come where all of that has come from so far. And Rashid asks if I am in Bexley or Balmain. In Balmain now, but I was in Bexley at one point. I've been all over the place. But yes, I live in Balmain and work in Balmain now. So that is where you would find me. So thank you again. Have a great night. Have a think about the home play, 4% either per year, per month, or per week, based on the results that you have achieved up until this point. So if you are brand new, obviously per year. And I want you to have a think about what you would have to do, how you would learn, and we'll discuss a little bit further tomorrow again, and we'll take everything to the next level. And thank you again for joining. And I've only gone over by 3 minutes, so that's not too bad. And if you'd like to ask a quick question, we can still do a couple of question and answer for maybe another 2-3 minutes. And then I'm looking forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. Thank you, Vincent. And thank you, Joseph, for your thanks. And yes, as I said, I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining. And Rashid, give me a thumbs up. Thank you for that as well. And I'm so, so happy that all of you have been getting amazing takeaways from the event. That really makes me very happy. Okay, so unless there are any questions, which we haven't had, I will.
Thank you, Mena. It's Rashid.
You're welcome. Thank you, Rashid.
Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. See everybody tomorrow. And thank you again for joining.